So here I'll be trying to get the maximum force drain possible. Well, at least without using EV99 or a bunch of Sabat cards. I guess with EV99 you could just steal a bunch of droids, deploy them, and force drain for like 115 or something like that. But yeah, without using EV99, that's the goal here. Or I guess playing Sabak and sending a bunch of characters over to the light side so that they can get captured and imprisoned. But the idea here, the dark side is going to try to get out all the force drain bonus cards it can. And without stealing any cards from the light side, I am going to try to capture a bunch of people. That's the key to the deck, is capturing a bunch of people, but using pretty much every card that mentioned force drain. And to get things set up faster, I'm going to use IG-88 and lots of force activation. So IG-88 is cool because when he has a captive, he can just search through your force pile for any one card. And I got 4 Lam out 2 on the first turn, which is nice. So these, you can take forever to set these up if you want, but I'm trying to do them a little bit quicker. The light side isn't going to do much in this game. And then, yeah, one of the effects that I got out kind of early, that adds 2 to your force drains if you place a stack of Senator from hand there. I got all the lightsabers in here. And carbon chamber testing is good for this one because it allows you to use Jabba's prize and despair the effect to give you +1 force drain bonus. Then you get to activate an extra force with the carbon chamber console. IG-88 lets me take in hand whatever I want. So I got the Senate and a Senator. He works similar to IG-88, except in your control phase. So this is a pretty good start if I want to get things done efficiently. So yeah, starting in my control phase, I can take any card into hand from force pile. IG-88 can do it once per turn, both mine and the opponent's. I got a nice cheap starfighter in there because of one character who, oh, there she is. Yeah, if you occupy or you control more systems than opponent, force drain +1 at the same site. And it didn't really matter which specific Maul I used. I just needed one to have his lightsaber on him, so I used the cool-looking Maul, the Young Apprentice, which I don't think I've ever really used him in decks. Of course, he deploys only 5 to Coruscant, so maybe there's a scenario that would be extra useful. So we're going to get lots of You Swindled Me's out. These guys are neat. They when an opponent's sight force drain +1. So that's why it was important to start the light side detention block corridor. Plus, if you look at the text here, force drain +1. So if we can flip it, if we can use revolution, we're going to get a +1 drain there. So the light side, these are cooperative decks. The light side's trying to help out. So we got to get IG-88 over there. There's ways to get him more directly, but there's no real rush since there's lots of cards that need to get out. And eventually, we're going to have to start retrieving, get some of those You Swindled Me's back to have enough cards in the deck to deploy everything. So there's a lot of lightsabers there, all of which add to the force drain. All right, that's a battleground now. Plus there's an extra icon there, which adds to the drain. I'm going to set up a bunch of guys at the adjacent site and move them over. Reason being I need to battle here, and I want to make sure I don't have too much power for the light side to handle. Keep activating force. Send the lightsabers and whatnot back to the deck since they deploy for free. All right, and then you can see what the light side deck's all about. Since I had two dangerous times, I decided to play one now and hope that Revolution and Admiral Raddus were where they're supposed to be. Raddus deploys for 0, and he allows the Rebel troopers to deploy for free. And then Revolution flips the site, which is necessary to get. That adds 2 more to the dark side drain here, because it adds 1 light side icon. By flipping it, turns that into a light side icon, I should say. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, force drain +1 there. Point man if needed. Light side's going to do a lot of drawing here. All right. So Kylo's in there because he has a lightsaber. Vader's in there because he has a lightsaber. Plus his text is pretty good against Rebel troopers. And Mara helps us retrieve. I should say Erica. Mara in disguise. He's in here because I'm going to need to put a specific lightsaber on him. Got 20 power at that site. Trying to get out all these high deploy characters. Then later on, move them over when I have the extra force for it. And he's the key to the deck right here, ITO. Adds X to the force drains, where X is the number of captives here. We're going to speed this up a bit. Well, quite a lot of it. I'm not sure how it's going to show up on the recording, but yeah, basically let's say I get to play all these Rebel troopers for free. Get quite a stack going. Play the whole hand. And then not draw any battle destiny. So every time they're forfeiting, these guys get captured. Since all wrapped up allows you to capture a character. Since it's at the prison, they just get imprisoned right away. I did think about using binders, but it's not coded into GEMP. So binders, just put that on IG-88 and have them battle a bunch of Rebel troopers, then have IG-88 carry 59 Rebel troopers into the, I guess it would be 57 Rebel troopers. Yeah, and 1 Admiral Raddus, carry them into the detention block all at once, but that ended up not being possible due to GEMP coding. So we're still trying to dump lightsabers and get characters. Moff Gideon makes all those rebels power -1. So all the troopers are 0, and then Raddus is 1. They still have forfeit 2, though. So I had to be a little bit careful with my math here that I didn't do too many. I should say too much power. Having too many rebel troopers wasn't an issue because they were never going to have, the light side wasn't ever going to have any power here or anything of note. And yeah, sometimes I accidentally seized the captives and put them on the warriors, but for the most part, I'm stacking them all in the detention block here. I guess he is an admiral, not a general, so it makes sense that he's not very good tactically on the ground. He seems to be losing these battles pretty hard. Admiral Raddus does. All right. This is much more enjoyable to watch on the replay. It goes pretty quick. In the actual game at the time, it was pretty tedious doing all this, but it was worth finding out. Plus, I don't know, I kind of like the double search the force pile setup. All right, so we're trying to get those last few characters out. There's not many left. Actually, I think I did get all the characters out. Now it's just about getting the lightsabers out and devices. Hara Singh gets the Dark Jedi lightsaber. I could have put Asajj Ventress in here, but I forget there's something in her text that made me not want to do that. Oh, like when you lose a battle, you have to lose a force or something. So I didn't want her battling because then Lights I was gonna have to lose a rebel trooper, which would be kind of annoying. So then I have to get them that rebel trooper back somehow to capture it. All right, so there's still one lightsaber in the reserve deck plus whatever I send back. But I can activate if I wanted. I chose retrieve instead. That actually makes more sense. Light side's gonna come out, guns not blazing. Now Vader's over there, so all those rebel troopers are power and forfeit -1. So all those guys at power 0, forfeit 1. Gotta be careful not to make them forfeit 0, because then they would just soak all that battle. They wouldn't be able to soak any battle damage. But yeah, I moved some guys around, carefully did the math to make sure the power was right. Let's put this on max speed here. So let's see, we needed a starting location. That's 1 card. We needed Admiral Raddus. That's 2. We needed Revolution. That's 3. We needed 1 card in the deck. So there's going to be 56 Rebel Troopers and Admiral Raddus. 57 total. I think I did that right. Yeah. Now, if you're counting and you look at the Rebel Troopers, you're like, well, how is there enough left? But the good news is we're going to forfeit Raddus last to soak the remaining damage. We want to deploy the Stormtrooper garrison later just because he has a maintenance cost. It's a lot of Rebel Troopers getting ready to be interrogated. Okay. So that's the last one. Last guy, the Admiral forfeited last. Just want to make sure we get all the cards out of the force pile possible. All the ones that we need, I should say. Spares out to add to the force trains. Hypo even adds to the force trains. Now we got to move everybody over. Orlom has a captain on him, otherwise he didn't really need to go over there. Can't even really see the site. It's so tiny. But establish control. We got to get Lot Dodd because he goes on motion supported, so that keeps lighting up. All right, we're going to check to make sure there's nothing else we need. Doesn't look like there is. Got the Stormtrooper out, which allows us to play Establish Control, which is going to make our force strain at the adjacent site +2. All right, so let's see what we end up with here. Make sure we place a lot dot on there. So now we're adding 2 to the 4th string here. Let's see what we're at so far. Well, we'll wait a little bit. So initiates a 4th string at 67. We're going to add a bunch more to it. And quick pause. Why is it 67? Well, oh, it doesn't tell me on here on the replay, but it usually that's interesting. It usually says, 4th string plus this plus that, but it'll say anyway. So 67 we started with. But most of that is from ITO. We're getting all these lightsabers here. She adds one because I control a battleground system. He adds one because he's with Kylo Ren. And it was a 4th strain of 80. So that was the highest I could get as dark side without using EV99 or playing Sabak to steal other cards. But yeah, let me know if you think there's any cards I missed that might have gotten a higher 4th strain. But I think 80 is pretty good. That'll win most games. If you can 4th strain somebody for 80 and they can't stop it. By most I mean all. But that'd be pretty funny if they have something out like Ultimatum and it caps it at 2. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This kind of silly, let's see how much we can 4th strain video. Thanks for watching. I hope you tune in for future videos.